Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, good night once again. So, uh, we have more, a couple episodes of Zach Morris's Trash for those who want to watch along with me. Again, I love Saved by the Bell growing up, but as an adult in retrospect, you see just how, of course, cheesy like many kid shows are, but really how sadistic and how uh, weird and terrible, uh, characters that we loved as our childhood are, especially like Zach Morris, who again, I love Saved by the Bell, and I love Zach amongst the whole cast, but I love Funny or Die for doing this, as I do the special episodes, because again, it makes you rethink all of it, just like, jeez, man. But anyway, so, Zach Morris is trash.
Zach Morris is trash.
Zach hates his teacher, Mr. Dickerson. The jerk actually wants to teach him stuff. Tomorrow's their midterm, and it's a doozy. Zach interrupts the review to crack a lame joke. The class trip is coming up. Taking the students on this annual adventure is the highlight of Belding's year. Milton wants to visit Pennsylvania. Zach calls him fat and pokes his belly. Lisa suggests Hawaii, but it's too expensive. Zach volunteers to go alone. Jesse proposes political activist tourism. Zach tells her to can it. Zach's blonde belligerence is making discussion impossible, so Belding will decide. But they need to pass their midterms to go. Zach announces Dickerson is almost 5 minutes late to the midterm. You know what that means. Everyone can leave in
10, 9, 8, 7, 6.
5-minute rule, eh, Morris?
How'd you know? Just made it up.
No, you didn't, but whatever. Dickerson won't be in. The stress of teaching certain hopeless cases triggered a mental breakdown. Here's his chill substitute, Mr. Belding. Zach says, hey moron, you're Belding. But this is also Mr. Belding. They're brothers.
Just so there won't be any confusion, call me Rod.
Very chill. Rod heard if they don't
Yes,
pass, the
I
trip
remember.
is canceled. Rod's not in the mellow harshing biz and tells everyone to rip up those midterms. A little too chill. Then makes a huge mess for the janitor to clean up. Not chill at all. Naturally, Zach loves this prick. What about grades? Jesse needs an A. Done! Zach jumps on that A train. Rod says you can get what you think you deserve. Dismantling the core structure of graded schooling. Screech wants an A, but deserves a C+. Zach calls him an idiot for displaying honest character. Belding interrupts Rod's paper plane lecture to say they're going to Yosemite. As soon as he leaves, Rod talks shit about his brother. Then hosts a Dodgers viewing party in his office during school, disrespecting his brother all over the room. Zach thinks it must be his goddamn birthday. Zach and Screech are pumped about Yosemite. Rod says his trip was way cooler. They went whitewater rafting. A bunch of kids unnecessarily risking injury and death before college. Totally better than stupid-ass Yosemite. Zach says boring bald Belding would never take them rafting, but bastard blonde Belding would. Zach sells the gang on rafting. Jesse says they agreed on Yosemite with real Belding. Zach says so what? We'll just go break his heart. Belding is thrilled to show his treasured students the itinerary he's been working hard on. They're going to observe deer at dawn.
That's so sweet. I think I'm gonna cry.
Stop it.
Zach interrupts to say they want no part of his snooze fest. They want rafting. Belding doesn't know much about rafting. It can be dangerous. Zach says no problem. Because Rod, the dude who has done nothing but showcase his incapacity for any responsibility and has failed to display one shred of common sense and is kind of a weird dickhole, is the perfect guy for the job. Belding just wants them to have fun. And if they all feel this way, sure. A crestfallen Belding dumps his dreams in the Zach can. Rod's using class time for raft time. Zach's pointing at imaginary animals and copping a bouncy feel. Rod hosts a make-out tutorial under the guise of CPR training. Belding breaks up the smooch show. He instructs a defiant Rod to return this class to the classroom. Zach says Rod rules. He's so passionate about kids not learning. Belding thinks Rod should care more about teaching than popularity. Zach says he's just jealous, then Pout stomps away, emotionally decimating Belding for the second time since lunch. The gang is ready to raft. But where's Rod? Zach hears Rod in Belding's office. He's bailing to hang with a flight attendant named Inga, who's only in town this weekend, despite the fact that flight attendants, by vocational virtue, are in and out of town all the fucking time. Belding says he knew it was a mistake letting Rod return. He has not changed. Rod says he'd understand if he could just see how hot Inga is. Now cover for the Rodster. Tell the kids he's sick. Which is technically true. Rod is sick of the kids. Belding tells Rod to leave and don't come back. Zach, in full Rod plus vest cosplay, retreats. Belding says Rod can't make it. He has the flu. That's all Zack needs to yell.
Let's go home, guys.
Belding might not know much about rafting or swimming, but he'll risk drowning to take them on their trip. Zack wants to know why Belding didn't tell the truth. Rod's banging a smoke show stewardess with a cool name. What a legend. The gang would have loved it. Classic Rod. Then Zack decides he'll finally be nice to this selfless mentor now that he has an exciting vacation to offer. Let's review. Zack Morris, disgusted by an educator trying to educate him, drove a teacher insane with his unwinnable future, just to embrace a sham substitute who made a mockery of academics. Then, after Zack made deciding on a trip impossible with his hostile badgering, callously snubbed his most patient ally after he made a well-thought-out decision, just to put the mortal fate of his classmates in the dodgy hands of a man he personally witnessed was incapable of any substantial obligation, and who, for an adult, displayed an alarming need to impress children, then only retracted his scathing dismissals of his dedicated principal when it meant a free trip that he did not even earn because he was never gonna pass that midterm. Zack Morris is trash.
Zack Morris is trash.
Next one.
Zack Morris is trash.
Stevie the pop star is coming back to her middle school to perform. Zack lays claim to her famous flesh. Lisa, president of Stevie's fan club, is certain Stevie will have no interest in Zack's immature ass. Here's Stevie. Zack bet Nikki he could kiss Stevie and claims he already won on a technicality because he kissed her poster. Pathetic. If he wins, Nikki has to wash his gym clothes for a year, attempting to force his unwanted physical advances and housework on two women at the same damn time. Stevie's so happy to see someone who knew her back when she was still Colleen. Miss Bliss learns Stevie's at a hotel and insists she stay at her place. Stevie is pumped about her show and wants to sing a song for one special student. Word is out, Stevie's looking for someone to serenade. Zack intends to be that someone, then leverage the moment for a kiss.
She won't be able to say no while the cameras are rolling.
It should come as no surprise, Zack's moving to Hollywood next year. A wigless Stevie got accepted to college, and despite her management's career concerns, she's excited to find herself through higher education because she's got a good head on her shoulders, especially without that wig. Zack hounds Lisa for info on Stevie he can use to win his carnal wager. Stevie loves charities and lost causes, but how lost?
Earthquake relief, world hunger, children's hospitals. Ding.
Zack is suddenly not feeling great. Neither am I. Stevie picked a winner, Zack Morris. His doctor sent her a note saying his dying wish is a Stevie song. Hopefully it will add a few extra days to his over any minute now life. P.S. Don't be afraid to kiss him. He's not contagious. Where did this guy go to med school? Belding announces Zack will be on stage with Stevie. Miss Bliss wants to know his secret. Zack says he was just born lucky, which is accurate as he does not have a fatal disease. Belding tells Zack he knows. Zack does his best deathbed cough. Pathetic. Belding alerts Milo that Zack is on his way out, so be nice. Zack takes delight in his new power of manipulation. He tells Belding to keep this quiet. He doesn't want people treating him differently. The only reason he's doing this. Belding says it's their secret. Oh, and he's clearing Zack's atrocious academic record. But wanting to help, Belding showed Zack's note to Miss Bliss, who wants to know how she can ease his final days. Zack was feeling a little weak during their last test. An A would really help. Of course. By the way, what is killing Zack? Clearly, it's not his conscience. Zack says it's a rare case of, descorosis. Best he can come up with, pathetic. Miss Bliss says her grandpa had that. She knows the cure. You just need to hop up and down to shake loose all that bullshit you're full of. She can't believe she has to say this, but you are not supposed to lie about dying. It caused Belding real pain, Zack's favorite part of the scam. And he hurt Stevie. Zack doesn't care. She's just some broad who's gonna sing to him. Won't be the first, won't be the last. Miss Bliss can't believe she also has to say this, but Zack's Stevie song is off. Zack goes to apologize at Miss Bliss's house to maybe get that song back and bumps into Colleen. She asks if Zack really made a bet to kiss Stevie.
I guess you think she's pretty hot. Nah. Nah. Okay, she's not a dog.
What a charmer. Zack tells Colleen to deliver his apology for him, mistaking her for his personal apology secretary. Then tells Colleen to tell Miss Bliss to tell Stevie she's a real dummy for quitting music to go to college. Stevie had it made, because all Zack values is money, not learning, and what he assumes to be a life of doing zilch. Colleen drops some knowledge on Zack's boring ass that entertainment is hard work. Then, psychologically attacked to feel Zack's approval is the only thing keeping her from being a dog. Goes in for a kiss that is way more than Zack can handle. Pathetic. The gang is gathered for Stevie's show. Nikki has gym clothes for Zack to wash because he's too dense to understand he won. Wow, what a show. What a really weird show. This show is very weird. Zack says Stevie's weird show was awesome. Her friends call her Colleen. Zack, realizing he's the victor, screams like a spaz that he kissed that girl. Only nobody believes him, listens, or cares, because no matter what, he's still a loser. Let's review. Zack Morris gambled over a celebrity kiss to make his female classmate wash his sweaty clothes. And when he learned his target has a kind heart, abused that knowledge by faking a terminal illness to guilt her into kissing him, then expanded his charade, exploiting anyone who would be foolish enough to grant him one last kindness. Then, while attempting apology by proxy, which is not a thing, called the young lady he gambled on stupid for wanting to go to college. And when he got that kiss, that he only got by being a jerk, and was too slow to know occurred, couldn't just enjoy it, and had to yell about it like a little blonde weenie. Zack Morris is trash.
Zack Morris is trash.
Oh God, it's wow. You know, I'm sorry again. Y'all know I'm rarely speechless, but it's just so funny. I mean, it's not again like over the top. Oh my God, belly aching laugh funny, but it's so funny again to really think of the subtext, the reality of when they put in these terms, because it's true. Just how much. What were the creators of Saved by the Bell thinking? I mean, when they made the character of Zach Morris and all the things and hijinks that he and the Bayside Kids do. I mean, seriously, you have to make what kind of warped thinking. But then again, like I said, you look at again cartoons, shows, things like Simpsons, Family Guy, and there's a lot of other comedies, and there are really dark stuff in there. So when you really think about it, so anyways. I hope you enjoyed, of course, viewing another episode of Zach Morris is Trash or two with me. As always, feel free to share, subscribe, hopefully give a like rather than a not. And feel free to leave a comment. Let me know. Were you a Saved by the Bell fan? Did you have you watched other than with me any of Zach Morris's Trash? What do you think about that show? Now seeing this, and just in general, anything along those lines, or anything else. Thinking about like a show you watched in your childhood, teenage years, and you reflect upon it. It's like, what in the world? So, anyways, as always, appreciate comments. So, thanks for watching.